Hello everybody, my name is Yusuf and today I'll be debuting my MP3 project. Loading up the app, all I did was to change the project was I added a history page. So I can click up to 5 markers and it'll give me from the most recently visited to the least last recently visited which places I clicked on. How did I do this? Basically, what I did was I created a method for every time a marker was clicked on, set place history, which took in a parameter of a marker. I would find the place that matched the marker ID through the in the places list, and I would add that to the history places array. This array adds every time a place is added, it puts it in the initial position and moves everything down one. If it's in the last part of the array, that value gets kicked out. There were a couple challenges that I had. So I had to make a history screen. I didn't know how to do that, so I just copy and paste it in activity add place. And once I did that, it became a little easier, but there was an issue. I didn't want people to edit the text. I wanted only people to view the text. So what I had to do for that was I had to go on Stack Overflow, and they went over what a text view was, and I realized this is what I wanted for my history page. So through Stack Overflow, I changed it from an edit text to a text view. Another issue that I had was I didn't know how to create a history button on the main activity page. So what I did was I went on a tutorial by Easy Tuto, and he basically went through the basics of developing a button, its ID, its width, its height, all those basic things. And through that, I was able to create a history button that led to the history page. Another big challenge that I had was creating the history class in the first place. If you look here, every time I called it wouldn't show up. What I realized it was that I forgot to add the override, so that did not work out. Another huge challenge that I had was every time the method would work, the activity would work. The problem is every time that I clicked on the history page, there would be absolutely no text showing up. And I realized that was because now if I click on a marker, the score is going to be 1, as you can see right here. But before, it would always be 0, and that's because I always use this method, filled history spaces, into here, into this position right here. That always initializes for loop equal to 0, and because of that, no places would be added to the history places array, leaving the whole thing blank. How did I fix that? Every time, well, basically what I did was every time that I single click the screen, I would have the length of the array, how many spaces in the array were filled, and it always kept showing up 0. And I realized that I had to change the for loop here from filled history places to history places dot length minus 1, and that made the array work just fine. Another huge challenge that I had was getting the intent to work. Initially, I put this in the outside of any method. It kept having a check style error. It wouldn't work. And then I put it in the on create of the main activity. The app kept crashing. So then I figured, why don't I just put it in the single click? Because I see this intent in the long press helper method. So when I did that, everything started working. But then the intent would always crash. It wouldn't go through. So what I ended up having to do was go into the Android manifest, add the intent for the history page. Everything started to work just fine. From there, it was smooth sailing. I just had to get the intent from the main activity, set up all the descriptions and parameters, set the text view equal to a string of all the places I visited, and then set an intent to go back to the map on the leave button. Everything became smooth from there.